Perfect. Hey, welcome everyone to our May Health eWorkforce Consortium Student Support Staff meeting. Like we have Adriana, Brandy, Matt, and Debbie on the line, and we have Esther and Shannon here with us in Bellevue. So the first thing on our agenda today is a TED Talk video by Sarah Lewis, and I've posted the link in the chat box. Apparently we can't show it through WebEx, so I'm going to ask everyone to take a few minutes. It's a 12-minute video, so if everyone could go, the link is in the chat box. And if you're not seeing the link for some reason, let me know, or if there's some reason you don't have access to video, let me know too. We're going to watch it up here. Okay. There's a link in a chat box on WebEx.
Just maybe try and resend it.
Okay, let me try sending it again.
I wonder if because they weren't there when you sent it originally.
Maybe. All right. Yes. Okay, great. So if everyone could just go and watch the TEDx video, and then we'll come back when that's over, and we'll have a discussion about it. So could everyone let me know if you're back yet?
Let's finish.
We're still waiting for Adriana.
Mm-hmm. And maybe calling users who are okay.
Great. So I thought that was a very thought-provoking TED Talk, and I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this idea of embracing the near win. And it brings to mind anything in your personal life or in your work or in working with your students that you'd like to share, or just what you thought about the video in general. Well, Brandy, you said you thought it was pretty cool. I'm wondering what you thought was cool about it. So she said, great last comment. Completion is a goal, but we hope it is never the end. I really like that one, too. And Matt says we can become pretty preoccupied with products. Absolutely. And at the expense of overlooking the process. I really liked the idea of the archer's paradox, that in order to actually hit your target, sometimes you have to aim at something slightly skewed from it. Can you think of any of examples of that in your work? Esther?
Even up above that one. Above W. One more. Up above.
Oh, it's private.
And then one more. Keep going. Keep going. There you go, Brandy.
Okay. Brandy says, I encourage students to celebrate their small wins. We should all remember it for ourselves as well. Absolutely. Adriana says, for students, it's important to remember the small successes along the way to graduation, such as getting to a good grade. And Brandy says, I keep a thank yous folder in my email and save them so I have something encouraging to look back at. I also liked how she was talking about the coaches standing behind the archers and assessing who might need support. And I'm wondering, how do you assess whether or not your students need support? And Debbie made a comment. Okay, I'm having a hard time keeping up with the chat. So it seems like this is encouraging some discussion, but I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the chat. So if you wouldn't mind, the folks who just chatted in the last few minutes, If you wouldn't mind speaking into your microphone, that would be great.
I just said, this is Matt Bryant, I just said that students who ask for support make it easy, but otherwise I've found that it's about asking the right questions. And I think that the individual service plan actually helps with that. You know, it gives a good foundation for knowing what questions to ask and seeking out ways to support those students.
Great. Good example. Thanks, Matt.
Can you hear me? This is Brandy.
Hi, Brandy. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying a new headset, so I wasn't sure. I have been checking through student grades quarterly, and a lot of our students I found were on the president's and dean's list. And for everyone that successfully passed, I wrote them an individual congratulations. And that was celebrating just, you know, their quarterly win. And I got a lot of thank you back from that. So I thought that was a fun thing to do.
Great. So you sent individual congratulations out to your students every quarter?
Yes.
Great idea. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
You are a little hard to understand.
I need to make sure that they met their prerequisites. Okay, I'll put it closer. I need to make sure that they met their prerequisites anyway, so while I was at it, I just emailed them.
Great idea. Would anyone else like to chime in?
I think sometimes working with students with the Shannon or employers or any relationship we have, at first you may not see sort of the fruits you've planted, and it might take weeks or months when someone will circle back and respond either to an email, or someone might circle back and say, wow, what you said here affected me. I was thinking about it. I know in teaching or recruiting or whatever, our immediate goal, we might think we didn't meet the mark.
Right.
And what's great in life is that you might find that even though you weren't aware that the goal was met, perhaps you did have success that you may not even be aware of, or you might become aware of the successes later on.
Yeah. Great example. And do you find then also that that propels you to keep going when you find out later that, oh, I did make a difference?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks. So Brandy shared a great example, too. She said, I bombed a lot of interviews when I was younger, but learned a lot and was a better public speaker because of it. And I think that we all have examples like that. Actually, the first thing that comes to mind for me when I think about this is my golf game. And people wonder why people get so addicted to golf, but really it's because when you have a good shot, it just makes you see that you can do that, and so you want to keep trying to get better and better. And I think it's great to be able to notice those things in the people that we're working with and the students that we're working with, and be able to encourage them. And like some of you said, to celebrate the small successes, because that does propel you forward. Okay. So I have some other questions, but we're not going to have time for them, so I think I'll send out an email afterwards, just to kind of keep this conversation going. And yeah, absolutely. Just mentioning to students that you've noticed their effort is huge. Okay. We're going to switch gears now to our challenges and best practices discussion. And hopefully you all brought at least one challenge or best practice to share with the group. Who would like to go first? Okay, thank you, Matt. So Matt says his best practice is classroom visits to promote program offerings. Matt, would you like to share a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we're fortunate in that there's some overlap between our Health IT program and our computer networking program, and I mentioned this last month, that our computer networking students can add our Health IT certificate by just taking 3 classes, which we happen to be offering over the summer together. So that makes it really easy for them to add that certificate to their degree. So to promote that opportunity, I did classroom visits in the computer networking classes and had a terrific response. I think as of today, I've had 15 students who have registered for our summer offerings just as a result of my visits to 3 classes. So I felt that that was very fruitful.
Wow, that's great, Matt. 15 students. Wonderful. Thank you. And Brandy said good idea, too. And Adriana shared a best practice, offering to edit student resumes over email instead of in person, with an in-person follow-up if more help is needed. It's a great idea as well. Would you like to say any more about that? Okay, her microphone's not working. And Brandy said we did something a little similar. We offered students our dual degree option at group advising and had a lot of interest as well. Would you like to say anything more about that, Brandy?
Not really on that, but I wanted to make a comment for Adriana. I think that's a great idea to edit the student resumes over email if they can't make it in. We have our first graduating class in our group going out right now, so that's something we've been trying to do is make sure everybody gets their resume up to date. So I like that idea of at least getting them through email if nothing else. We are considering putting that as like a 2-credit piece at the end. Right now we have a required internship, but we have a lot of students getting employed or trying to become employed right now rather than their internship since it's paid for the last quarter. And one thing we recently discussed was doing a job preparedness course at the end rather than the internship. So that would include resume review and interview, a mock interview possibly, helping them have interview clothing and appropriate attire and that kind of thing. So that's something we're considering right now as well.
Okay, great. So I'm curious, would that be...
And even if that were not a course, well, we're trying to make it into a 2-credit course, which should be something more reasonable for them to do in their last quarter, is finish up their last 2 academic classes with that course. Since it's things we're asking them to do anyway, we're trying to make it required by making it into a course.
Okay, great. You just answered my question. Well, we'll look forward
to
But
that's in development.
And Adriana said, great, I use track changes in Word on the resumes. And our programs both have a professional development course, and I visit those classes and do presentations. Okay, great, thank you. Shannon, did you have anything?
Yeah, I'm in recruiting mode and have had some success in cold calling, going to hospital facilities and sleuthing to a point where I can get in connection with someone who is able to send out email blasts to targeted groups.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, does anyone else have any more challenges or best practices? Okay, well, those were all great. Thank you, guys. So the next thing I wanted to do is show you the results of the recruiting survey I had sent out. We had 6 colleges respond to that, and it was really quite interesting to see the responses. So I'm going to try to pull that up here on our screen. How did I do that before, Heather?
Okay, so if you go back to Quick Start, yeah, there we go. And then share application, and then just do the, there it goes.
There.
So if we go back down into the WebEx again, SurveyMonkey's there now, under Untitled window.
Okay, great. Go. So first of all, thanks everyone for responding to this. I hope it didn't take too much of your time. So I asked, which of these marketing activities do you use to recruit grant students? And I'm going to show you real quick the color code so you know what you're looking at. It's right here. The green is never, blue is once, orange is more than once, and the kind of gray brown color is regularly. Looks like, of course, most people are using websites, brochures, flyers, kind of a variety with the information packets. Some are using them, some aren't. Promotional signs and banners. So you can just kind of get an idea of what's happening throughout the consortium here. Press releases, newspaper articles, blogs. And then I wanted to pull out just a few of these and ask if those people who responded wouldn't mind saying a little bit more. Under marketing activities, I'm curious about the info packets. For those who have used info packets, what do you find valuable about it? And would you mind talking a little bit more about that? Okay, let me see if I can get back to the chat.
There's a chat box right on.
Thank you. Okay, well, how about blogs? So a couple people said they've used blogs more than once, and then we have some who've never used blogs. So I'm wondering, for those who have used blogs, what have you found valuable about that or not? Okay. Okay, I just pulled out a few to talk about on each category. The next one was email campaigns.
You might want to go back and do a raise hand.
I don't know how to do that.
I think you would do stop sharing, maybe. Yeah. Go ahead and just click the stop sharing button. We can get back into it if we need to.
raise their hand, and you can click on Brandy's hand right now to make it go away.
Okay, I'm having some comments about raising hands. Can you tell me more about what your thought is behind that? About the raising of the hand?
To see if anyone here has done any of those things.
Oh, they have. That's just on a survey. So what I'm wanting to know is, for the folks who have, do they have anything else they want to say about that?
Right.
I guess. But I'm trying to get to the screen and the thing is, okay. Unfortunately, I can't print this out or send it to you, which is why I wanted to do it here to be able to show you these results. Videos is really interesting. Most people have never used videos, but a couple have. And the same with LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Interestingly, no one's used any other social media other than Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, according to the survey. So I'll move on to outreach activities and go through this a little faster here. So here are the results for the question about which outreach activities you participate in. At job fairs, lots of people are active with job fairs, veterans events.
I don't think you're sharing that anymore, and WebEx is flashing. Oh, Brandy's doing stuff.
Maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
I can help you get the stuff out of SurveyMonkey to send it out, if you would like.
Okay, that would be great. Okay, well, I would call this not a very near miss, but definitely a miss. And so Heather actually said that she was able to pull out the survey results, so she's going to do that for me so that we can send those out to you guys. It was really helpful for me. The one thing I just wanted to point out was to be able to see some of these areas where really nobody is using them right now, so like radio stations and TV stations and Yahoo and Google Ads. So that's really helpful for me as I'm planning marketing activities for the consortium to see where maybe we can fill in some of the gaps and really be able to help the whole consortium there. So, okay. So the next thing on our agenda is our round of commitments. So I'd just like to ask each person to actually go around and share one activity that you plan to be committed to for the next month. Someone kick us off here?
Because we're promoting a new data analytics certificate, I've joined about 10 meetups related to health and IT and people in the data analytics area. And a lot of my energy will be going to some of these evening functions, letting people know about our program.
Okay, great, thanks. And Matt says, continuing to cultivate relationships with employers and develop job leads, excellent, and to develop program evaluation. Adriana, do you have one? And how about Brandy? Oh, here we go. Yeah, we weren't getting the last few chats in the screen there. So Brandy said, celebrating our student success. We have our first graduating group and are hosting a program celebration on a separate evening for students and their families. Awesome. Adriana develops a list of job sites to share in pharmacy tech class. Review Glassdoor for interview information. Okay. Great. Thanks, everyone. I'll add mine. I'll be doing an information session at Joint Base Lewis McChord next week. And so those of you who have HIP certificate programs can expect a call from me in the next week to try to go over and get some more information from you, just to make sure I'm conveying your information correctly. So that's mine for the month. And just looking at our future upcoming meetings, we have for June 25th, Adriana will be facilitating the discussion on best practices for resumes, especially with a healthcare focus. July 23rd is Brandy facilitating the conversation on strategies for connecting with veterans. And on August 27th, we'll have job search website facilitated by Jennifer. Okay, does anyone have anything else they'd like to add before we close the meeting? Okay, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your participation, and we look forward to the next one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.